and welcome to February's Mindful Crafts subscription box. This month it's something completely new, something that we haven't done a kit previously, although polymer clay kits will be soon available on the website. But this came about when I was working on a macrame project and I was really struggling to find beads that had a big enough centre hole to put the cord through. So I did a bit of research. I thought, right, I'm going to have a go at making my own beads, and polymer clay came across as a medium that would enable me to do that. So polymer clay it is this month. Now the clay itself, it is an oven baked clay, and it will only harden by being baked in the oven at a fairly low temperature. Okay, we bake it at about 130. It's a very slow bake, but once it does bake, it hardens, as you can see. So it goes from being a soft clay, and then it's set, and it's really difficult to break. You know, it's really quite strong. So it's going to make it great for beads, for macrame. It's also going to make it nice for little pendants, okay? And then our bonus project, we're going to make something else with the clay, okay? So it comes in a range of colours. Everybody in this month's box has got a red clay, and then you will have either the fuchsia or the lavender. I'm afraid we're really struggling to get stock here at the moment, especially from Europe with the new restrictions. Stuff seems to be taking ages to get here, but we won't go there now. So you've got 2 blocks of clay in your kits. Let's just run through the other things you have got. You have got a rolling pin, okay, which is just a plastic tube, okay. It works just as well as the acrylic rolling pins that you can get, and they're a lot more cost effective, okay, and of course they're reusable, okay. We don't put single-use plastics in our kits. Everything in there that has plastic in is reusable, okay. You'll have also seen that you've got a heart cutter, okay. Some of you might have a blue handle, some of you might have a light lemon yellow handle. Okay, you will also have a few sheets, I'm going to be careful with this because it gets everywhere, of gold, silver and rose gold leaf. So this is the rose gold, and it is beautiful, but it does go everywhere. So I'm going to show you a little technique to try and reduce the amount of gold that you'll find around your house. Okay, so we're going to use that in a bit. You've also got some lollipop sticks. You might be wondering what on earth have they got to do with clay. I will show you in a bit. You have also got some greaseproof paper, which is what we're going to put our beads and our pendants on when we've made them. Okay, and I always put them on greaseproof paper because A, they won't stick, and B, it won't leave any marks on the clay once it's been baked, okay. What else? I'm working just on an old tile, okay. You don't have to work on an old tile, but I just find something nice and smooth that I can wipe is useful. But if you've got even like an old plate or anything really that's wipeable and smooth, okay. So that's that, and you will also see that you've got a pair of these gloves. These are the medical ones. They're all nice and, you know, safe to wear, and it's just going to stop us getting the dye of the clay on our hands, particularly the red I found when I was making these. You will also have in your box, you've got these 3, okay, and these little cutters, and these are for obviously various size holes, particularly when we're making the beads have the hole in the centre. Okay, so the only other thing you're going to need is an old baking tray, or something that you can just pop in the oven. Although we're putting our beads on the greaseproof paper, it's not, you know, it doesn't have to be an old one that you're going to throw away, but maybe if you've got an old tray or something you can pop in the oven, an old Pyrex dish or something that you can pop in the oven. And you will also have in your box a bit of foil that we're going to make like a little tent that we're going to put over our work before it goes into the oven. Okay, so I think that's about everything for now. I'm just going to grab myself a cup of tea. Feel free to go and do the same. Grab everything you need, and I'm working from a different angle this time because obviously there's more bits and pieces to show you. So I'll get myself sorted and we're good to go. Okay, so I've got everything ready, everything to hand, and we'll make a start. Okay, now the clay, it's Polymer soft clay. Again, as I said before, it's great for beginners. It's really versatile. We're going to be making beads and pendants. It's really quite easy to manipulate. It's easy to work with. Okay, but when you do get your clay, you'll see on the back there's the little corner that's got the red arrow, and all you're going to do is you're going to hold it there, and then if you just pull, you'll see that that will begin to open. Okay, and then you can pull this. There we go, a little bit tricky. And it will open just like that. Okay, now if you've got an old knife actually lying around, then you can cut it, or if you want to just use your hand, you can just break it. It comes off quite easily. All right, now what I'm going to do is, because we're not going to use all this to begin with, I'm just going to break off two of the lines, if you like. Okay, and then I can put that together, and there should be, here we are, there's like a little sticky label on the back somewhere. It's just a matter of finding it. There we go. Oh, it's there, but you can peel that off and close that back up, okay? Although it won't dry out too much, but it's just to keep it nice and fresh. Now this is where I'm going to put my gloves on, and this is just for working with the clay at the beginning. Again, it's just to stop the colour transferring onto my hands. Okay, there we go. Now at the moment, although it's called Polymer Soft, we want to actually condition the clay. Okay, we want to warm it up, and we want to make it more soft and malleable to work with. Okay, so you just spend a little bit of time just rolling it in your hands. You can roll it into a sausage if you like. Roll it back. Okay, now what a lot of people who really get into polymer clay, what they do is they use a pasta machine, and you just feed it through, wind it through, and it does what we call condition the clay to make it nice to work with. But what we can do is, because I didn't put a pasta machine in your kits, is we can just do some rolling, okay, and then roll it back into a ball, and we're just going to work the clay for a bit. You'll feel it get a bit softer. Okay, I mean, I've read on the polymer clay groups on Facebook particularly, I've read all sorts of things that people do to warm their clay up. They sit on it, they put it in between their legs while they're sat watching the telly and cross the legs and the warmth from your legs. They pop it down the bras. They pop it on top of a radiator, more sensible choice maybe. Okay, but you can see, look, see the purple's coming onto the gloves, which is why I'm wearing them. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is I'd like you just to carry on doing that, okay, for probably 5-10 minutes or so. Really press it, okay, you can squish it, you can twist it, okay. At the moment, a good way to test it actually, at the moment I've twisted it and you can see it's broken there, it's torn. Okay, we don't want that really. So when you get to that stage, you'll know that it's been conditioned quite well. Okay, so you do that now and I'll meet you in a minute. Right, so I've been working that for 5 minutes or so, probably just a bit longer. Okay, so I've been working that for about 5 minutes or so, maybe a bit longer. So I'm happy that that's been worked. And what we're going to do now is we're going to roll it out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little trick that will make each bead that we make the same size and the same weight. And this is where your lollipop sticks come into play, okay? Now, we're going to use these as guides either side of our clay, okay? And I'll obviously have to stick those two together. Okay, and we're going to put those either side and we're going to roll them out so that it's even in width as we roll. Now you can buy all these proper guides, okay, which are different widths, but if we don't want to go to the expense of that, then we can just use these. And again, we're just going to use these as a guide, and I'm just going to roll it out. There we go. If you want to stick your lollipop sticks together, you can. But I'm just going to make sure that that's rolled. And then I know now that that is the same width this side as it is the other side. Okay. So there we go. Move those out of the way for now. And I'm going to use a cutter. I'm going to use the largest one in the kit, so the red one. And I'm just going to cut out some circles. Just press, give a little twist, press, give a little twist. Okay, I'm going to do a couple more. Right, so I could do all over, but I'm just going to do those. There we go. Now I have got 7 little circles there that I know are all the same width and they're all the same size. Okay, so I'm just going to take, I think, I'm going to take 3 to make 1 bead. Okay, so I'm just going to put those to the side now. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to start rolling it again. Okay, we'll start off just by making a plain bead. Okay, and again you can get different bits and pieces that will make your beads circular. Okay, but there we go. All right, so there's just 1 bead. Okay, this is just going to be a simple bead. And then I'm going to use my black cutter, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to, I just want you to see that, I don't want to cover it. I'm just going to cut that through and then carefully give it a twist. There we go. And I have got my first bead. Okay, I hope you can see that clearly. I've got my first bead there. Okay, with a nice decent shape and size hole. Now I'm just going to get my bit of greaseproof paper. I'm going to pop it on there. Okay, now that's a fairly small bead. Okay, you will also find that you've got a bit left in your cutter. Okay, in which case you can just get it a bit against another bit of clay and it should come out, or I should have brought one with me really. You can just put something in there to poke it out. Okay, so that is one simple, one colour bead. No fuss, just one done. Right, I'm going to make this one a little bit bigger. So this time I'm going to take those other 4 circles that I had. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some metallic leaf to this one this time. Okay, again you can roll. It's quite difficult actually to get a nice circular shape, but you just roll it gently and you will. It's easier to do it in the palms of your hands actually. There we go, that's better. Right, now what you may have noticed is that when you use the cutter to press the hole down, that it kind of distorts and loses its round shape and kind of flattens down a bit. What you can do is before you cut the holes, you can pop these in the fridge. Okay, obviously don't put it by any food that's exposed, or you know, you can put it, at the moment I've just been popping them out in the conservatory because it's cooler out there when the heater's not on. You know, or you can just leave them out overnight, and like I say, they won't harden, but they'll just firm up. Okay, because if you think about it, that clay is warm at the moment because we've been manipulating it and conditioning it. But if you want to, if you've got the time, you can leave it overnight or pop them in the fridge. Okay, right, now here I am going to take my gloves off, and if you take them off carefully, you will be able to reuse them, not like that. But again, I've popped, there's a couple of pairs in your boxes. Okay, so now I'm going to add a bit of gold leaf to this one. And again, there are various ways you can do this, but this is what I've done. In fact, I think I'll use the silver, seeing as I've got it out. As I say, it can go absolutely everywhere. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get myself a piece here. Where's it going? There we are. All right. And it comes between the sheets of tissue paper. Now, you can do this various ways. You can, if you want to, just roll the bead on your metallic leaf, or what I like to do is just scrunch it up, and I've just got an empty curry tub that I don't use anymore. Okay, if you've been like us and having some takeaways because we can't go out anywhere for a meal, you might have some of these lying around as well. Okay, so it scrunches up, and then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my lollipop sticks again, and I'm just going to break it up into bits. Okay, because I want to still be able to see the lilac, lavender, or whatever, but I want some metallic on it as well. Okay. Alright, so you can spend time breaking it up if you want to, as much as you want. And then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to get my little bead and I'm just going to just pick it up. There we go. And then roll it again. So I've got a bit of metallic stuck to my bead. Okay. Now that gives a nice defined piece of silver on the lavender. If you want to achieve what I've done here, where it's all kind of like crackly, and then the bits of the metallic spread all the way through the bead, then what you do there is you get your roller again and you roll it out. Okay. And what will happen, there you go, can you see that the silver begins to break up? Okay. And it will sort of like work its way throughout the clay. All right, now I've got quite a big bit there where I haven't got any silver. So I'm just going to get another little bit, stick that on. Oh, I've got bits of silver leaf flying everywhere now. And there we go. Okay, and then you can pull it apart. You can make that bead shape again. Okay, and all the bits of silver, there you go, they will now begin to be spread out within the clay. And start off with less. But then if you want more silver, like here, look, I had quite a bit there. So if you want more, then just add a bit more. You can have great fun with this. There's no right or wrong, there's no rules. Just slap it on. There we go. Right, I'm going to roll that back into a bead, I think, now. So it's not too bad now, the colour, because the colours mainly come off onto the glove with the bit I'm working. Okay, so can you see there, you've now got that nice silver speckle going through the bead. Okay, so once you're happy with that, as I say, you can leave them like that for a while, pop them in the fridge or pop them in a cold area, or you can leave them overnight. And then get your cutter again and you kind of decide which way you like your bead to be. I'm going to go there. Okay. And there you've got another bead with the bits of silver running through it. And again, pop it on your grease proof and they're ready to bake. Okay, right, I'll show you. Okay, so I'm going to show you a bead that you can make with two colours now. So I've taken some of the red and I've conditioned it again in the same way as I did with the purple or the eye earlier. Okay, and what I'm going to do is, you can see I'm wearing my gloves. See, I told you the red does go onto your hands when you're doing the conditioning, so that's why the gloves are really useful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put those two bits together and then I can just roll them together just lightly. So you've got the two colours that have just joined together now. And what you can do is if you just twist them, if you just turn them, there you go, you can see like you almost get like a candy cane stripe. And then what you can do there is you can cut them, okay, and you can have beads that are more of like a cylinder shape. So you could have beads that are like that in which case you would just need to use, maybe I use like a kitchen skewer to poke a hole through if you wanted a bead like that. Or you could do them the same way as we've done before, and you could just roll them into a sphere shape. Okay, and then what will happen is you will just get, as you can see, you've got the two colours in the bead there. Okay, so that's one nice way of adding two colours together. Or another thing you can do is you can roll out a piece of one colour. So if I roll out some of the red, okay. Okay, so I've rolled out a bit there. That's what I'm going to do, is I'm just going to cut it, and then I'm just going to take a bit of the lilac, just break bits off, and then just stick them on. Okay, doesn't have to be any particular size anyway. Okay, just do one more in the centre there. Okay, and then if I roll it out again, it almost becomes a bit like a leopard print, but without the black bit. Okay, and then if you wanted to, you could get your metallic leaf, and you can also, when you want some little bits, you can just add, and then you can just add bits, again, just random. Okay, just add a couple more. There you go. Right, so when you roll this out again, that will just sort of like blend into the clay. Okay, if you wanted to, fold it over, blend it again, and that's when you get that nice crackly bit of metallic leaf there. Okay, and and there you go. You can use your cutter if you want to cut out some circles to make the bead as we did previously, or if you wanted to, you could do this and use this sort of method for your heart pendant as well, which is quite nice. So I'm going to get those 4 bits there, and then you've got those to roll into a bead shape. Okay, and there we go, and it turns out sort of like a bit like spirally, bit of a layered bead, and you've got those lines of the lilac running through, and then you've got the bits of metallic leaf. Okay, there are so many different ways you can mix the colours. Okay, so that's another type of bead that you can have. Okay, I'm just going to put that on my greaseproof paper. Okay, right, next thing I'm going to show you is how to make the pendant. Okay, and this is super simple, and it's very similar to what we've just done with the with that final bead. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the bits that are mixed. I'm just going to get my red. Okay, and the good bit about the clay is if you've got any bits on your work surface, you can just pick them up and dab them like that. Okay, so I'm going to get some more red, and I'm going to condition and work with my red clay again, just to get it ready for cutting the pendant. Okay, so give it a roll, then use your rolling pin to roll it out. Okay, I've got a flecks of metallic leaf in there, but I'm not too fussed about that at the moment because we're going to be adding plenty more. Okay, I'm going to fold that over, lift it up, fold it over again. Okay, so if you get your piece of red or whichever colour you're going to make a pendant out of, if you get it all conditioned, and I'll meet you back in a second. Okay, so I'm just going to roll it out once more, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 2 lollipop sticks either side again, because I don't want it too thin. If you wanted a thinner piece, you just use 1, but I want a bit of a deeper pendant, so I'm going to use the 2, and I'm just going to roll it out. There we go, just like so. And I know it's the same all the way across. Okay, I'll just roll it out from that side as well. There we go. Okay, so this time I'm going to take my gloves off for this bit now because we've done the main bit of conditioning, and I'm going to use, I think, some rose gold this time. Okay, so I'm going to get a leaf of my rose gold. There we go. And again, you can break it and put it into a tub again if you want to. Or I'm going to do something slightly different this time. I'm actually going to cut a heart shape. Okay, these are great. Just press that down. Make sure it's gone all the way through. Okay, and then take the excess off. Okay, there you go. Now make sure you can lift this off your work surface first. Okay, and you might have some bits that are just loose around the edge, but if you just run your finger along the edge, and it should smooth it out and tidy it up. Okay. Now, again, there are various things you can do. For this one, I put some metallic leaf out on and rolled it out again so that it gave this crackled effect, which is what I've just shown you on the bead. Or what you can do is, if I bring my leaf over here, all right, this is where you're going to probably get metallic all over you. I'm just going to put my pendant down there. I'm just going to tap it on. Okay, and then to lift it off, actually, it's probably, these lollipop sticks do come in very useful. Okay, leave it there. Okay, and you can completely cover it if you want to, or what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lift off bits from around the edge, just a bit random, just to give it just a random metallic pattern on there. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to leave it like that. Then again, those bits put into your tub, probably keep another tub for the rose gold. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to smooth this down. Okay, and again, I'm just going to lift it up carefully. And it's so simple, but it just becomes so effective. Okay, so there I've got my pendant shape. Okay, really easy to do. And then, because I want these to hang, okay, so this one I did the whole on one side, whereas you want to use your smallest circular cutter, decide where you're going to hang it from. So this one I'm going to do the centre. Pop that through the clay, just give it a wiggle, lift it up, okay. Sometimes the clay will come out in the cutter, other times it will be left on the side. You just, if you obviously haven't got one of these, you could just use a knife or something to lift it off. There you go. And there is your pendant. It's quite fragile at the moment, but it's ready to pop on your greaseproof paper and ready to bake. Okay, so that's one pendant. Okay, you could, and I'm going to get these multicoloured bits out again, just stick them together like this. It's brilliant, this clay is. You can just do different things and there's no right or wrong. Right, so I'm just going to use these bits that I'd already got from earlier, and I'm just going to roll them out again. And as soon as you start rolling them out, they'll stick together. Okay. And then you can, might need to condition it again just for a bit, but you can roll it, you can twist it. It looks really nice. Looks really nice when you get all these wiggly patterns and okay. Right, there you go. Right, I'm going to go with that side, it's a bit more interesting. And this time I think I'm going to get some of the silver again, just because it's to hand. And I'm just going to put some bits on here. Okay, not too much to begin with. It's best to start off with less and add more. There we go, and you can see it'll begin to crack. There we go, I'm going to fold it over. I really love it when you put the metallic on and then roll it, because that crackling effect, it just makes it look so much more interesting, and you know, you won't realise all you've done is just stuck a bit of metallic leaf on there. Okay, so I really quite like that. Alright, so I'm just going to fold that over there, and I'm going to fold that over there, because I really like that effect. And then I'm going to get my lollipop sticks again. Okay, I'm going to roll these out. In fact, I'm going to go one lollipop stick for this bit now. You see how that's really giving such a fabulous effect. And all those metallic bits now are running throughout that clay. And then you've got the smudged, smeary bit of the lilac running through it. I love how it just all blends and bleeds together. It's fab. Okay, then I'm going to cut my heart out. Okay, and I'm going to be even more careful with it this time, because we've done it thinner, just with the one lollipop stick width. Okay, and again, just go around and smooth the edges. Make sure you can get it off your work surface. Okay, and then I'm going to, this time, I'm going to put the hole on the side, cut a hole, okay, take it off. Oh, the hole's still there, in which case I'm just going to give it a gentle helping hand. There we are. Just run your finger around those edges again. Okay, that's the back, which obviously you're not going to see too much, but you still want to make sure it's fairly neat. And there you go. I really love that effect of the metallic just broken up, giving that really lovely mottled effect. And then you've got the interest of the colour blends behind the metallic as well. Okay, you can have endless fun making these. You can find different ways of blending your colours. You can find different ways of using the metallic leaf. It's just brilliant. Now what I am going to do, I'm going to bring these back over, and if you notice I made some other beads as well, just so I'd got, these were just the plain purple ones like I did at the beginning. Okay, and I've placed all of my beads, and now my two pendants. Let me get this pendant off here. There we go. And they're on my grease proof, ready to go into the oven. Okay, but before I put them in the oven, I want to set the temperature to 130. Okay, all of the instructions are on the back of the packs. Okay, so 130 degrees, and we're going to pop this on a baking tray. But what else I'm going to do is, just to prevent anything burning or going like a yellowy tinge, I'm going to make a little tent out of the foil. So you've got some foil in your packs, okay, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold two of the sides, okay, right, it doesn't have to be perfect, it's just going to act as a little tent. And then when I put them on my baking tray, that is just going to go over them, and it will just protect, as I say, that's it, it will just protect the surface. Okay, so we're going to put them into bake. It's very, very low temperature, so let your oven warm up for 10-15 minutes first, and then we're going to bake them for 1 hour. Okay, so leave them for 1 hour. When the timer goes off, or after the hour, turn the oven off, but leave the tray inside to cool. Okay, because we don't want that sudden change in temperature coming out of the oven to, you know, the cool. So what I would recommend is just leave your oven off, leave the tray in there, probably for about half an hour, just to let it cool down, and it will stop any cracking or splitting because they're cooling down slowly. Okay, so bake them in the oven 1 hour at 130, turn the oven off and leave them to cool inside. If you do that, and I'll see you when we're done. Right, I have got everything out of the oven, so everything's baked now, and you will see that these have now gone really quite hard, so they won't break, they won't bend, and they are ready to be made into your pendant if that's what you're going to do with them. And your beads are ready to thread. You can put them together to make a bracelet, and I've just put some jute, like twine, in your boxes, but you can use anything really. What you do with the beads is entirely up to you. You might want to save them and use them for one of our macrame projects, which will be in an upcoming box. The decision is yours. Okay, another thing is, if you wanted to, I mean, I quite like these, especially the ones with the bits of metallic leaf in. I quite like them left with the matte finish, and then you've got the shine of the metallic leaf. But if you wanted to, you could just give them a coat of varnish. Now, what you would have to do though is be very careful with the varnish that you choose. Some varnishes react with the clay over time and it will become sticky, So you can get like Fimo, which is the brand of clay we've used. They do loads of accessories that you can use, a gloss varnish being one of them. Or if you just Google varnish for polymer clay, there are some certain water-based ones which you can use. Okay, and then you've got your pendant ready. And again, these are quite nice. These are just funky bits of jewellery, really. Just okay, or you could have it just hanging as a little decoration. And again, I think they look lovely with the metallic on them. And this one's come out beautifully, just with that bit of purple running through the red, and then the almost like mosaic-y silver effect. So the fun you can have with them is great. If yours has still got a little bit of a sharp edge, you can just give it a light sand. Even if you've got a nail file, you can just sand the edges if you want to. Okay, right, so that's the main project done. Now for your bonus project is to make a brooch. So in your little pack of goodies, you will find your bonus mystery gift. It's very tiny this month, okay, but it's just one of these silver brooch clasps, okay, and it just means that you can make something that you can actually then wear, even if you just pop it on your coat. It's entirely up to you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop my gloves back on, and again, these gloves you can use a few times. I'm just going to put them on the other way this time though. Okay, so the side that was on my palm first is now on the outside. Okay, like I say, you've got a couple of pairs in your kits anyway. Right, and again, I'm just going to spend a little bit of time conditioning the clay. Okay, so if you do that now, and then I'll meet you when it's conditioned. Okay, so that clay is now nice and conditioned, and I'm going to roll it out, move my bits and pieces out of the way. I'm going to do 2 lollipop sticks in depth, okay, but you can do more if you wish, or you can do 1 if you want a thinner brooch. I'm just going to roll this out, remember, so it's nice and even. And what I've done is, as you can see from the time lapse, I was adding bits of the gold leaf in as I went along. So this one's going to have the nice speckledy gold. It's got, you know, with quite a lot of gold running through it. But again, you know, the designs you do, it's entirely up to you. This is just an idea. Okay. So there we go, that's the same width, same depth I should say, all the way along. And I'm now, just because it's Valentine's, I'm going to do a heart cut again, a heart brooch. And I'm just going to press that right down, go all the way around. And again, just want to make sure that it's not stuck, just use a knife. Okay, and I'm just going to turn it over. Okay, again, smooth the edges if you need to. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my brooch back, okay, and I'm actually going to take my gloves off now because I need to be able to do this properly. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually put a bit of clay over the back bit of the brooch, and we're just going to leave exposed the pin and the clasp. Okay, so if you just want to get a bit of clay, again, make sure it's nice and conditioned, it's nice and soft in a way. Okay, and all you're going to do is just press it down. That's probably a bit too big. Okay, because we want it to go over the back of the brooch. Okay, and I'm just going to do it, I do it like that. Okay, I just want to press that down. Okay, and I want to press it down but without distorting the shape of the heart. Okay, so, and again, I mean, baking it together like this is fine. You can, if you want extra security, you can get polymer clay glue, and you can glue bits of clay together, but actually the ones I've done baking it like this is fine. The one thing you do want to do though is before you bake it is you want to make sure that your clasp will still reach and fit. Okay, you don't want this to be too deep. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to test that that will still close, okay, before you bake it. All right, okay, if that's too thick, then the pin won't reach the clasp. There we go, but that's okay. Okay, and what you're going to do now is do exactly the same. Get your piece of greaseproof paper. Okay, I'm going to bake it, and it's absolutely fine to bake it in the oven with the metal clasp on. You can do it with earrings as well and little eye hooks, which I did. What did I do? There we go. There we go. I made another little brooch. This is a different technique. And I just put like a little eye hook in there, and you bake it all together. It's absolutely fine. Okay, that was another technique about transferring napkins, but that's for another day. Okay, so pop that in the oven again. Okay, that's what it's going to look like at the front, but bake it that way so it's flat. Put your foil tent over, and again bake it at 130 for an hour. Then turn your oven off and let it cool. Okay, and once you've done that, you will have made the pendant, you'll have made the beads, and you'll have made the brooch. So I really hope you enjoyed this month's subscription box. I hope to see you again for March's subscription box. If you like what you've seen, click like, hit subscribe, make sure the bell's on so you're always notified of our new tutorials, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks, bye.